This looks good. This is nice. All right, so let's go to your code now.
Okay. What I've done. I'm sorry. It's supposed to be.
What you want to do so we can use this. So there's something I want to teach you guys, right? We can use this
Okay.
opportunity to learn that when you are in an interview, for instance, so this is like an interview, right? Yeah, let's just assume that you are showing me your work. Do you get? So I gave you a question, you have answered it, and then I asked you to walk me through the code. Or let's also assume that you are you are trying to answer a question that I gave you. So you are coding live, or you're doing a live coding during an interview, and then you're stuck. You should know that you are allowed to ask questions. So you can ask your interviewer questions along the line as you are coding. You can pick their brain. For instance, you say, I'm trying to achieve this, and this is what I'm thinking about. What do you think about this method? Or after doing something, you ask them. You just converse with them as you code. All right. So what is going to the advantage of that is that your interviewer knows that this is how this person thinks. This person knows how to communicate. He knows how to seek for help. Do you understand? So you are selling yourself to them. So they are not necessarily trying to see your faults. They are going to see it obviously if you have some lapses, all right. But that's not the reason for that interview, all right. Just like this call we're having, the reason for this call is not to say, oh, point out your lapses. No, the reason for this call is to know what goes on in your mind when you code, is to see how you are able to follow up with the classes that we've had, and then to see how you think when you also code, right? And then there's a need to adjust some of if there's a need to adjust some of those thinking patterns, then that's where I'll come in and say, oh, you would have you thought of it this way? You understand? Have you thought of achieving this thing this way? Why not you try this other method? So that's it. So it's completely a a very how would I say, friendly platform, right? So nobody's going to be roasted here. You understand? Because that's not the aim. Sure you get. So Glory, if at any point if you think that you're lost, right, you find yourself losing your line of thought, you just tell me what's going on in your mind, and this is what I want to do, and how can I do it, and then I'll tell you what to do. You understand?
Right. I'm fine now. I think because I collapsed it, I almost forgot. I was like, where are my codes? So I think that was the initial issue I was having. But I realized that, yeah, they were collapsed.
Okay, it's
So
fine.
yeah, I splitted I made two divs and they were on that, like you said, it should be placed in the body directly. So I placed it in the main.
I would,
I
yeah.
created the main.
So I would like you to take us from the top, right? Go from, let's say, let's leave the head part out of it. Can you collapse the head? Collapse it away. Yeah. No, the head, not the HTML.
Inside the head.
All right. Yeah. So let's go from body. So explain from body to main, then to the double divs you have there.
Okay, basically when you come into it, maybe use a Sublime or a Visual Studio, whatever, or CodePen. Okay, no, CodePen doesn't do that. It automatically displays this if you put HTML and click on it, enter, it shows this. So this is like you're beginning your program. Yeah. So what I did was that I I came to my body and I typed in main. So my old codes could be in main. Yeah, that's how you're saying main. And I gave it a class flex. Flex means it should go sideways. Why, if you want it to be in a column file, for me, I gave a CSS file name direction column. So this direction code means it should be directed in columns after my flex. And I noticed that a direction column does not exactly work on its own, except after you've inputted flex. So there should be flex first before the direction color. Even the align center and the justify content or whatever it is, they don't exactly work on their own except there's a flex.
So now,
I'm wondering why that is so.
sorry, Glory. So take us to your style, your styling briefly. Let's see.
Okay.
Do you know you can split your screen? You can actually split your VS Code editor.
I'm not sure I know how to do that.
You right click on style.css, the file.
Okay.
So you should see, I don't know what version of VS Code you are using, but you should see, let's see, open to the side, yeah.
Open to the side.
Option.
Open to the side.
Yes.
Okay.
Option, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So you can close the duplicate you have on this side.
Yeah.
Close the other style you have on your left hand side.
Left hand side.
No, that's HTML. Why?
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Don't be offended.
So close the style.
So,
yeah. Click on that home.html. Double click on it.
Okay, I already clicked on it. Yeah.
No. Go to the tab, the top of the document.
This?
Yes, double click on it. All right. So if you noticed, as programmers, be very attentive. If you noticed, it was slanted. The home.html text was slanted, right? And when you double click on it, it became normal. You get the difference between both of that. If you had clicked on another document from the Explorer, it would have replaced the home.html at that point. But now that you have double clicked on it, it's now it's like you pinned it there. So if you click on any other file from the Explorer, that file will open on another tab. You get? So that's the difference. All right, so go ahead, continue.
So, okay, let me just explain my CSS. You see box sizing, margin 0, padding 0. Because I think basically they all have their default margin and padding, but this is you saying you want all to be 0, 0. So this is more like normalizing. This is what we do when we want to normalize particular site. So then I give my body a padding of 30px. That's why you're seeing come on. I think that's why you're saying this, like this. That's why it is this way. Let me go back to my code. So I give you back the color of this color. So that's why you are seeing this. Sorry, yeah, this color.
No. I think
so
that color is working on the body. So look at what you're doing. The color you just mentioned now is on the body. It's not on your main.
No, it's on the body. This color is for the body. This color is for the body.
No, you are pointing in the wrong place. See the blue. The blue, that's the body.
No, not blue. I mean, like the surface, the background. That's the body.
So the
sorry. Don't be offended. This is the body. Don't mind me. This is the body. Yeah. This is the body.
So continue.
Yeah, sorry. Then I gave a background color of this color. Then I gave my main. My main had height of 85 VH, the padding of 15 PX. Yeah, this is now the main. The background color of this and the padding of this 15 PX. Yeah. So then my side now, I give it a height of 100%. The margin right of 15 PX. So that's why it moved. I think this is my side now. Then what other explanation was this given?
Glory.
Sir.
Comment out the margin right. Let's see the effect on your design.
Sorry?
You collapse that thing back. Collapse that div back.
Okay, sorry.
Collapse it here. So go back to your style of CSS.
Okay.
comment the margin right in side nav selector, dot side down selector. Comment it away. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Save. Go to your design. Let's see. Okay. So you use margin right to give a space between those elements, right?
Yes, sir.
So go back to your code. Let's see.
Okay.
Instead of margin right, what I would do and what I would advise you to do is to give that main guy, right? Give it
Okay.
a give it a gap. So go to main and say gap. So say gap 15px.
Okay. Should I save?
Yes, save.
Okay.
Go back to your browser. Let's see.
Okay, I'm here to understand that gap. I'm not really comfortable with it. There was one time I
So
tried it didn't exactly work. That's why I stopped.
okay, so yeah, gap works with flex and grid. If you have flex and you have grid, if that element is flex or grid, you can use gap to determine the
Oh,
space between their direct children, right? Direct children. So instead of using margin, most times I prefer to use gap. So like I said when I was teaching about is it what's it now? Box model, CSS box model, right? I told you guys avoid margin as much as possible unless you are forced to use margin. Avoid it as much as possible. And if you must use margin at all, it should be margin top, margin bottom. Margin right and left is kind of tricky unless you know what you're doing, right? And it's going to cost you a lot of calculations, a lot of issues when you're trying to do mobile responsiveness and all those things. So it is most advisable to avoid margin unless you're doing margin top, margin bottom. Anything that has to do with margin on the sides, you need to know what you are doing before you make use of it. Okay.
all right.
All right. So go ahead.
Sorry, sir. How about this gap? I noticed that it just affected like it. How do I explain this now? For margin, you get to see top, bottom, and sideways. But I think gap is just restricted to one direction.
No. So the way gap
Okay.
works is that you have gap X. I think it's gap X and gap Y. You can
Okay.
browse the actual. So if you want to affect only the row, it's either row gap or gap X or something like that. So you can browse when using gap with flex, right? So what it does is that you can choose where you want it to affect. If you want it to affect the X axis, which is horizontally, you can do that. If you want it to affect the Y axis vertically, you can also achieve that. You get. So gap, there's a way gap works. You can read more about it. Now, this gap you just applied now, you have two direct children on that main, right? So it's going to create a gap between those direct children, and that is your side nav and your content. Do you get? So that's
Yes,
why
sir.
the space affected only that place that you saw.
Okay.
There, so you can continue.
So where do we start from now? So that's that about the main. Then I think I'll have to open my HTML and sorry. These are many stuff. So yeah, I noticed that they had
So collapse all the children, it will help you.
this is one div. I gave this a div. I
Collapse all
gave
the children.
this.
Can
Okay.
you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, I can.
Right. Collapse all the children. No. Open the side nav here. Collapse everybody inside it.
Okay, this much more.
Collapse the second one. That's not all now. These are still open. No. Yes, that's open now. When you see that it's pointing downwards, it's open. You don't need to get.
Okay.
Once that arrow
Yeah.
is pointing downwards, it's open. So yeah, so it's okay. All right, can
Okay.
start.
So I gave a div for this. I gave a div for this. So I could put justify between them. Then I think I gave a small height to this guy, so just to centralize it. So it was align center I did here and justify center as I got to this point. And for this case, I placed justify between and align center. That's how they all came like this. Then for this guy, that was another div I gave to them. Yeah. Let me take it back to the code. So this is the 1, 2, that's for the side nav and the content. Then I'm going to explain the center.
Yeah, so collapse your Explorer. Press Ctrl B on your keyboard. Ctrl B.
Click on what? Ctrl B.
Ctrl B on your keyboard, yeah.
Okay.
So that collapses the Explorer. So that you get more screen real estate, right? So you see style.css, right? I want you to drag that window. So where you have the scroll bar, right? Point here. So click and drag. So drag to
this way or the other way. Okay, backward.
All right, so that we can see more of this your code, since that's what you're talking about. Okay, so looking at this your code now, right? I can see your styling, okay, and it makes sense. I appreciate how you are writing your styles, because you have utility classes, right, that you can use. You don't need to rewrite, okay, and that's good. But then I can see on that side nav, there is the first element you have there. The first item is called side nav 1. Then the other one is called side nav 2, and the last one is called side nav 3. Okay, why did you have them like that?
Okay, I think the side nav 1 was for the top logo. The side nav 2 was for the middle.
It's very obvious.
Side nav 3.
It's very obvious. It's very obvious what they are for, right? So I thought you were going to give me another reason. Now, if you named it side nav 1 because that was the first guy, side nav 2 for the second, side nav 3 for the third, that's fine for your level, but there's a more excellent way. Okay, so side nav 1, you could have easily called it logo. You could have said side nav logo container. All right, that's
for the next side nav 1.
It tells me what it's doing, right? Don't change it yet. Don't worry, you can change it after the call. Okay. Then the second guy, you can look for a name that makes more meaning, so that just by going through your code, your team member, your teammate is able to understand what's happening. Okay. And then side nav 3 could have been easily been something else. All right. But then if you don't want to name it, all right, there's also another way to select it using CSS. Okay. For instance, we are going to say side nav. So edit the side nav 1 name that you have there, where you currently have your cursor. Remove that name, that side nav 1 name.
So sorry, I didn't get that. Sorry, sir.
So
what did you say, sir?
Your CSS file where you have your cursor now, right? Just clear that name, side nav 1. Clear it away from there.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to say side dash nav. Side nav, yeah. Give it space.
Okay, I should give it space.
All right. So you're going to say, let's use the, how do you call it? The greater than symbol. Yeah. Greater than. Yes. Give it space. Write div. Use a colon.
Okay.
Colon. and say nth.
Okay. NTH.
nth. So you see different options, right? So we're looking
Yeah.
for
Child.
child. That's what we want to do. Nth child. Yeah.
Okay.
Put one there. Alright, so let's see if it will work. And go to your refresh.
Oh,
See.
same thing.
It works, right?
Yeah, I did.
So that's one way you can do that. So at any point, if you replace that div with something else, the styling will still be there. So you use this when you don't really want to give a name to the div, right? When you are just trying to target the first child. For instance, you can be trying to create a list that has border at the bottom, right? Every of the list will have a border at the bottom, but you don't want the last child to have a border at the bottom, right? There's a way to achieve that, right? You can target after your colon, you now have last child, and that will target just the last child in that list. Or you can say end child one. If you just want to underline just the first item in the list, end child one will do that for you. If you want to underline, say, the fifth item in the list, end child five will do that for you. Sure you get. So there are other selectors that you should explore, and it's going to improve the quality of how you write your code. You get. You as you can see now, you achieved the result, right? But there are better ways to achieve what you achieved. Sure you get. And that's the more reason why you should keep practicing, and then you should expose yourself to reading materials and also watching materials online. All right. So we're going to end here so that we can see what other persons have done. Right. What I can see currently, I think you did a good job. Right. So
Thank
we're
you,
going
sir.
to stop your presentation here. If you have questions, you can ask before we move to the other person here. So let's move to the other person. Gold honesty. Are you able to present at this time? I see that you're trying to speak, but I can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, can you see my screen? Hello?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So this is my project, and this is the code for the project. I'm coming at me. Okay, on the left is the HTML and the right is the CSS. And for the project, I gave a div of main to house everything. And since we are having on your last video, you said you should see everything as a div. So I saw this left side now as a div on its own, and this right content as a div on its own. So that was why I had to name a div of main to house this two div and give it a display flex with a gap of 3. This gap of 3 is the utility class we taught us about, so I just had to use it so that it can give it a gap I gave in the utility class. So it's now housing this. So for the left side, which is the side nav, I had 2 divs here because I saw this as a div on its own, then this whole content here as another div. So on this div, I collected the logo from the project picture here. So I just had to do justify content center, like content center display flex to center the image. Then on this second div here, I just had to do display flex, then give it a space of between. I had to use that utility class also. so that it can be easy for me, which is this second div here, display flex, then colon, should display colon, flex colon, then allow it to set a space between, to give it that space between here. So for this right hand side here, which is this, let me collapse this one. So which is this one here. This for this Boras, this name here, I just had to just use H1 because it looks like it was standing alone on this place. Instead of me using a div, I decided to use H1 for it, which is this H1 here. And I had to reduce the font size of H1.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So I see that what you did there, and it makes a lot of sense. All right. So when I said you should see everything as a box, not a div, everything is a box. So
Okay.
I think I'm explaining the CSS box model, right? So when you have a text, it's not compulsory that that text must be inside a div. Do you understand? Like, you get what I'm trying to say. So
Yeah, I understand.
you can use H1 to H6 or paragraph, and it will suffice, just as you have done. So that's good. All right. So I see that you have inline styling, right?
Yes.
Which is not bad, but there's a more excellent way. Your style should be external. All right. It should be external.
Okay.
You only use internal style when there's no way you can achieve what you're trying to achieve without using inline or internal style.
Okay,
Right?
sir.
But so far what you have done, I think if you keep going, I'm not going to see much that I have to comment about. You have done a very good job, right? Something you've done here, I see that you collocated the code properly. So you have your CSS in a folder, your images in a folder, your JavaScript in a folder, right? And you have
Yes.
in the root directory, which is very, very good. That's the way it should be done. That's very good work. The formatting for your HTML is not quite there yet, but I think that you can help yourself by installing an extension that does the job for you. All right. I don't know if you have Prettier installed. You have Prettier. I seem to have Prettier installed.
I have it, but to active, is it to enable it or this?
So
I have to enable it.
Prettier is going to work depending on your settings. You can set Prettier to so you can browse on these things I'm telling you. How to set
Okay.
how to set up Prettier, number one. That can do the work for you. Number two, you can browse on how to set up Prettier to save and rearrange.
That's what
So
I just.
it will rearrange, or to adjust or save, right? So
Okay.
you can do things. And sometimes if you have a bug in your code, Prettier will not work. So, like I told you guys, I don't know if I mentioned it, HTML is forgiving. HTML forgives you even though you have a slight error. Do you get? So that's why you
Yes.
should write your code properly. So there might be a bug in your code that you are not seeing, but Prettier sees it, and it sees your code as something that's not correct. So it's unable to really format your code for you. So it could be one of all those issues. But for starters, you can go online and then browse on how
Prettier.
to set. Yeah, and that will do the job for you. But apart from all these things, bravo, nice work.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right, you're welcome. So the next person to present would be I think we should see Afolabi's work. Then after Afolabi, so these are the persons who I know that they have done their work, right? Because I've seen them posted on the group. So I'm not just selecting names, right? So people have seen their work on the group. Those are the persons I'm calling. So after Afolabi, I will leave the floor open for you to indicate if you want to present your work. All right. So let's see. Afolabi, if you are there, can we see what you've done? But no problem. So what will happen now is that we'll end the class for today since there's no other presentation. But during the next class that we'll have, we're going to be learning about CSS responsiveness. So I'm going to be teaching you guys how to achieve responsiveness to build for mobile screens. All right. So after that class, the next assignment will be based on this current assignment. So you are going to refactor what you have done to be mobile responsive. So this same UI that you built, you are going to try to make it mobile responsive. That will be the next assignment. So next class, we'll learn responsiveness. The upper class would refactor this guy to be mobile responsive. And once that is done, we're moving straight to JavaScript. Once that is done, we're moving straight to JavaScript. All right. So thank you all for your time today. I'll see you in the next class. The next class should be Wednesday. We will not wait until Friday because I want us to be done with CSS by this week. All right. So that next week we can move to JavaScript. So please help spread the news. If Afolabi can hear me, help spread the news. The next class would be on Wednesday, the same time, which is 1 p.m. Wednesday. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great day.